It's Sunday night. Browns played a football game. Do you count preseason games as like real games? Is it like real football? I think it's real football without like implications in like wins and losses. Like you don't like when the Browns lost 34-10, but like nobody cares like what the score of the game was. Nobody cares if the Browns won or lost. I mean, how many times I think the year the Browns went that didn't win a game, they went undefeated in the preseason. So, but here we are. We're going to overreact like everybody else, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to say things that we may not mean fully because we don't want to overreact, but we are overreacting. And we may end up, we're going to try our best to not say anything um, concrete. We're just evaluating what we saw yesterday in the game. Browns lost 34-10 to the Bears. The overarching thought process for me was there was some great, there was some good, there was some bad, and there was some ugly. And I'm gonna get into the quarterbacks here in a little bit, but I wanted to just kind of give some overarching thoughts on everything else besides the quarterbacks, and then we'll get into the quarterbacks. So let's start with the positives. The young skill on offense is electric. I think this might be. I'm trying to go back and like think about when's the last time the Browns had a receiving unit that I thought was deep and talented and skilled and fast. And I couldn't. I honestly, I don't remember. I think this receiving room, if Jerry Judy is motivated and happy and looking to play football, then I think this receiving room is legitimately four deep. Obviously, we got the three young guys. As we've seen Isaiah Bond last year, he's fast. He's electric. He's get the ball in his hands in space, send him, send him a nice deep threat to stretch the defense. He can have a role. Denzel Boston didn't get a lot of action, had one target, but in the one target, he was a big body receiver and acted like a big body receiver. Went up, ran to the chains, pushed the guy out the way, turned around, caught the ball, got a few yards, and was a big body receiver. And I think that's something that this team has been missing for a while. But Casey Concepcion, man, let me tell you what, I don't know if I was wrong about Casey Concepcion because like I still question his like him catching the football all the time when you need it, but couldn't have been a better debut. And I love how they're using him. I mean, let's take it. I mean, send him back. I wasn't expecting him to go back on punt, but look at this. I mean, made a cut, made a guy miss, and then got in the open field and got tripped. I mean, that was a 30+ yard return, I believe, 40, and it flips the field. Nice play right there. Nice catch. Good route. Getting that's two different ways now he's gotten the ball. There's another one. Send him outside. Look at him making plays. Now they have him on an end around. So they've gotten him in positions to touch the ball in three different ways. They handed it to him. You call it a pop pass. Hand it to him. Whatever. There's another pop pass. Like look at all the ways that they're getting this kid the football. This is the stuff that people always complained about with Kevin Stefanski. Like he would never get his playmakers the ball. He would never find ways to get his playmakers the ball. And Todd Monken found three different ways for Casey Concepcion to touch the football. It was awesome. Like I said, this group is going to be fun to watch, exciting to watch. If the quarterbacks, whoever I'm saying quarterbacks plural, the quarterbacks have time to set their feet and throw and make a read. Like these receivers are going to be able to make plays for them. I feel good about saying, no, they're super young. Absolutely, they're super young, but they have skills and they're different and they have ability. So it's exciting. I liked what we saw. Dylan Sampson, super duper explosive. Here's on the big play. This is probably the biggest play, the best play of the day. Look at that burst. He hit the hole, made the catch. We'll play that again here. Made the catch, sets up the block, boom, hits the gas. Look at that. That is juice. That is something that we can get used to seeing. I think he has some serious ability, and I think he's going to be really good in that scat back, that third down back, that pass catching back. Like he's got a long future. I think guys like him have long careers because they're useful. And you can have a package of plays for them, and they can execute them at a pretty high clip. And they as long as he stays healthy and explosive, it's good. It's good stuff. So that was kind of the positives. I thought Spencer Fennell also looked pretty good. Um, take a peek here. If you watch Spencer Fennell at the top of your screen here, dominating his matchup, that was awesome. You really like to see him win. And I know the other side, we're trying to avoid talking about the other side of the line, but Spencer Fennell held up his end of the bargain. I thought he played really well. I thought he looked the part. I thought he looked like a young guy, young left tackle, but you know, there was a lot more good than bad for Spencer Fennell, which was fun to see. However, the offensive line is not good. There's no depth. There's not a lot of, it's a 5 brand new starters. So I'm going to give them some time, the starting unit, some time to like gel and to come together as a group and learn how to work together and all those things. But I think the O line is going to improve off of last year. I think it's better, but I don't know how much. I don't. Is this? It's not a top half. I think the ceiling of this, if the Browns offensive line became a top 20 offensive line, I think that was huge success. Huge success. Do I think? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're a bottom third offensive line, but where in that third, I don't know. I don't know how far they can rise, but that was not good, and especially the backups. Ooh, that second unit, as far as the run blocking, was not good at all. I mean, the running game was kind of non-existent, and I don't think anybody really is worried about the run game right now because that's not what we wanted to see by any stretch of the imagination. So it's just the O line's got to be better. They got to get better. They got to gel, and they got to come together and be better, so that we can get a true evaluation of the quarterbacks. The other issue on defense, depth on defense is not good. It's bad. It's 30. They gave up 34. The second and third unit essentially gave up 34 points. Now, are you totally concerned because they're not the starting unit? Yeah, but there's also injuries. Injuries are going to happen, and those guys are going to have to play. So Darius Smith is reportedly going to sign with the Browns. Not sure how true it is. Mary Kay Cabot tweeted that out. And then Zadarius Smith was like, I have another visit with another team tomorrow. Not sure who told you to release that. So who knows? But it's reported that Zadarius Smith is going to come to Cleveland, which would be cool. Can't hurt to have another pass rusher. But I got to imagine that Andrew Berry's on the phone trying to find some more corners, some secondary help for sure, to get in there and help this group, because boy, do they need it. They need it. All right, let's get into it. The quarterbacks. I thought the quarterbacks for the most part kind of we kind of had a picture in our mind of what the quarterbacks were coming into this. We thought we knew their strengths. We thought we knew their weaknesses. We were hoping to see some improvements on what we saw last year or last time we saw Deshaun. And I think we saw a lot of the same. The things that they're good at, the things that they're not good at. Before I get into this, I think I kind of forgot how toxic Browns fans can be when it comes to the quarterback position. It's almost as if like you got to be, if you like the one, then you don't agree with that, then I don't know what I'm talking about, or you don't know anything about anything, or you're not a Browns fan if you don't like Shador, you're not a Browns fan, or if you don't like Deshaun, you're not a true Browns fan. It's like I don't really care. I think most real Browns fans and realistic people and normal people just want the Browns to be good. And I don't really care who the quarterback is. Now, Deshaun is a little different story because, and we'll get into that. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think either one of these guys are very good. I don't think either one of these guys scream franchise quarterback. You know, when you watch the film, you watch the game, you're like, oh man, like the good parts of his game can outweigh the bad parts. Like I know, I think both of those guys' faults don't outweigh the good things that they do. And they do have there are good qualities about them, but at the same time, their bad is just bad. So let's get into it. Deshaun Watson, 11 of 15, 126 yards, one sack, one fumble. Here's the fumble again. You know, the right tackle gets absolutely destroyed. You know, Deshaun, some people want to blame Deshaun for that, others don't. I don't know. I mean, at some point, like he's like of his time with the Browns, like I think he has some of the most fumbles in the NFL. Like at some point, it can't always be the offensive line's fault. Like you gotta like franchise quarterbacks don't get that ball stripped. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like franchise quarterbacks, one, they elevate everybody around them. Two, those things just don't happen to them. They don't do those things. They protect the football. They move the football in their hands, you know, to avoid that situation and get rid of the ball, or they get out of the pocket, or they get rid of it early. They just like those things just don't happen. And so, you know, that was the typical Deshaun mistake is the fumble. I thought Deshaun looked efficient at times. I thought Deshaun looked very comfortable and in rhythm when the first read was there. You know, the throw to Jerry Judy, there was a throw to Isaiah Bond, there was a throw to Casey, couple throws to Casey Concepcion that looked like in rhythm within the playbook, operating at a high level, you know, hitting the read and being on time. There were all those things. But I thought he looked skittish in the pocket when the first read wasn't there. I thought he got out of the pocket when he didn't need to. You know, it was getting out of the pocket way too early. He also didn't make a throw over 10 yards. There's no pushing the ball down the field. And all last year, everybody was like, well, Kevin Stefanski is just not calling any plays that throws the ball downfield. And I know Deshaun did play quarterback last year, but like that's what we heard. But at the same time, Deshaun's not allowing the play to happen. There was a play where Isaiah Bond was wide ass open and didn't throw him the football. I don't know if he's not seeing the field. I haven't watched the all 22. I don't know if he's not seeing the field. I don't know if he's not, you know, doesn't think it's almost as if he's seeing ghosts inside the pocket. And the tough part is that when he does get out of the pocket, Deshaun can make plays. Deshaun is still, I think he's a better athlete than Shador. I think Shador is not as good as athlete as people think, or he thinks. Deshaun is a decent athlete. I think he's a little bit of a shell of himself because of the Achilles, but he's shifty enough to get out of the pocket. He wants to get out of the pocket and make plays. He looks downfield to try to make a bigger throw, but he just, for some reason, is not pulling the trigger. And I don't know if that's because he's, you know, there's definitely some rust in there for sure. But at a certain, like, we're past the point of a rust. The clock has run out on the rust talk. The time is now. He has to do it now. And if he's not going to do it now, he's never going to do it. But I did, you know, overall, I graded his performance at a C plus. There was one almost delay a game where Monken called a timeout. There was a delay a game and there was a turnover. Like he has to be able, if you're not going to be as physically talented arm wise as Shador, you're not going to push the ball down the field. You need to operate the offense, command the offense at a high level, at the basic level, right? No pre-snap penalties as far as delay of game or illegal motions. Like you need to make sure, like at the end of the day, those things are his responsibility, and he needs to make sure that those are happening properly. He needs to make sure that those guys are lined up where they need to be They need to be on time. He needs to get them into the right calls. He needs to make the right checks, make the right adjustments, be great pre-snap. If you're going to be a game manager, then do that. Be the game manager. So, you had to be able to do those things if you're not going to be the one that wants to push the ball down the field. Todd Monken said something interesting after the game that I was kind of surprised, and I've never really heard a coach say, but I also don't think a coach has been in this situation before. So let's hear it.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it was so cool to watch him play. I mean, I get all of the frustration by fans, himself, but for him to come back and work like he did is an unbelievable credit to him. And then to go out there, he was having fun today. And that is so cool. And I thought he really functioned at a high level. Certainly, we don't want to be taking timeouts. We sure as heck can't take delay of games, okay? But it was fun watching him play and watching us put the next step forward and see where we're at.
Deshaun Watson brings out a lot of emotions to Browns fans, a lot of feelings. There's a fraction of Browns fans that don't think he's a good human being because of the sexual assault accusations and cases and whatnot. And I don't think it's wrong that they feel that way. And I'm not going to tell them how to feel. I think there's a fraction of Browns fans that don't like Deshaun because we essentially mortgaged our future on him and gave him $230 million guaranteed. And we gave up 3 years of first round picks. And we have nothing to show forth. Our franchise went backwards after the Deshaun Watson trade happened. And there's a fraction of Browns fans that still believe. And I don't think any of these people are wrong. I don't think any of these people are bad Browns fans. I think they all just want the Browns to be good. And unfortunately, Deshaun Watson either hasn't been healthy. He's had 3 surgeries in his time in Cleveland. And then when he has played, it hasn't been very good. So for a coach to acknowledge that and understand, and I'm sure he's been told, but to come out and say the fan frustration with a player is a very odd thing. It's a very it's just a weird. I've never heard a coach say that before, to acknowledge how frustrating fans can feel about a certain player. It was just the stories and the way the Deshaun Watson era ends, whenever it ends, it's going to be a weird time in Browns history. And we'll see what happens this year. I have no idea. Let's get to Shedeur before we get out of here. Shedeur was 6 of 11 for 79 yards and a pick. I thought the best throw of the day from any of the quarterbacks came from Shedeur, the long pass play to Fourier. Shedeur is going to stand in the pocket. He's going to maybe drift back in the pocket, but he's going to stand in the pocket and try to make a play down the field. Shedeur wants to push the ball down the field. This is the opposite of Deshaun. And I think we can all agree that Shedeur has more arm talent than Deshaun does. I don't know if Deshaun can make the throw that Shedeur made to Fourier. I don't know if he can make that play. One, I don't know if he can actually pull the trigger right now and actually stay in the pocket long enough to make that throw. 2, I don't know if his arm is strong enough to do that, to make that throw at all. Drifting backwards, sort of off his back foot, put it on a rope on 40 yards down the field, 30 yards down the field, and put it on the money. I don't know if he can do that. Shedeur has that arm. Shedeur has an NFL arm. Is it a Josh Allen arm? No. Is it a Matt Stafford arm? Hell no. But I think Shador, I would feel confident saying Shador is a well above average good NFL arm. I mean, he layers balls, he has touch, he can throw with velocity. I think he has a very much better than good enough arm. But it's still a little bit of boom or bust with Shador. The interception he threw was a bad throw, said it slipped. You know, there was, I forget who it was, a former quarterback was talking about how he saw Shador moving the ball in his hand to get a better grip because the ball was wet with sweat. Might be true, probably is true. It just can't happen though. I'm not gonna allow him to use that as an excuse. You just can't make that bad of a throw. It just can't happen. Um, but it is, he is going to. The thing that's tough with Deshaun is that Deshaun is trying to hit singles over and over and over again. And in the NFL, it's hard to score 4 times and have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yard, 12 play drives. Like that's hard to do. That just doesn't happen very often. You have to be able to make big plays, chunk plays, and have a 5 play drive, a 3 play drive, a 7 play drive, and score a touchdown. Like you have to be able to do that. And you have to make chunk plays. And Shador will give you that. He will give you the big chunk throw. He'll stand in the pocket and try to make that throw. But he also is going to take sacks. He's also going to maybe force the ball. And, those lead to 3-and-outs. Those lead to turnovers. And they both have turnover issues. I shouldn't, I'm not just saying that Shador has turnover issues. Deshaun has turnover issues as well. And I thought Shador is he's like a rhythm 3-point shooter. Like if he gets in rhythm, like it can go. It absolutely can go. The problem is he doesn't get in rhythm enough. And so that's where you have the 3-and-outs. You have the turnovers. You have the, Shador is the type of quarterback that can win you a game and just as quickly lose you a game as well. And that's where he has to grow up. The decision making has to get better. The processing has to get faster. He can't drift it backwards in the pocket. You can't step and throw 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's just never going to work. And he has to, and I think if he can get better pre-snap, he can get better at those things and do those things better. But he's also a young quarterback who played for his dad since he was a freshman in high school and was never put in an offense that forced him to do those type of things. It was very vanilla. It featured his strengths. And maybe that's good coaching. And I think Todd Monken is a breath of fresh air when it comes to quarterback and play calling. I think, we'll be interested to see what he looks like compared to Kevin Stefanski, but I think he's better. Absolutely. So, I'm excited to see what Shador looks like in his start with the number one offensive line in front of him and the number one offense in general. I'm happy that Monken's doing that. I don't want to like I said, say concrete things, but I don't think we saw Shador do anything that we didn't see him do last year. We knew he had arm talent. We knew he wanted to push the ball down the field. We knew that if he get into a rhythm, he can make the right plays and make the right throws, but he can also make the bad throw and, make a bad throw that's incomplete, take a sack, another incompletion, it's a 3-and-out, and you went backwards. He has his faults. And I don't know if Shador is a franchise quarterback. If you had asked me right now, I'd say no. I don't think Deshaun is either, so it doesn't really matter. We don't really have a franchise quarterback. So we'll see. But I'm excited to see what he looks like next week. And we can evaluate that one just like we evaluated this one. Best throw of the game went to Shador. I'm not too terribly upset about a young quarterback trying to push the ball down the field in a preseason game. If you'd ask me right now, I would say that Deshaun is ahead, but I don't think it's over. People think it's over. I don't think it's over. Nonetheless, like I said, last pod, I don't think this team is. It's gonna be hard to watch and get excited from a wins and loss perspective, but there's talent on this team. There's talent in the skill position on offense. There's talent on the defensive line. There's talent in the linebackers spots. There's talent in the secondary. Like, this defense, if it stays healthy, will be a good defense. But quarterback and offensive line are the two most important positions in football, and they're bad at both. So we'll see. See them grow. Watch them play. And just remember that just because of somebody likes one quarterback or the other doesn't mean they're not rooting for the Browns. So, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all support. Peace.